The church must know that it's a place for everybody. Come as you are. And the church must not stigmatize people.
Welcome to 16 Minutes with Divine Simbi-Ndhlukula. Today we are frankly talking about drug abuse and the role fathers play as allies and how faith communities can turn care into concrete action. I'm joined by Bishop Never Muparutsa, chairperson of the Zimbabwe Heads of Christian Denominations. Bishop, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Doc.
So, Bishop, from what you've witnessed in your ministry and community, what forms of drug and substance abuse are showing up most, and what does concern you most?
Oh, thank you very much. There are many now in Zimbabwe, many forms. You have tablets, you have pills, you have drinks, you have syrups, and different forms of smokings that are out there in Zimbabwe. In fact, it's now a plethora of many things going on, locally brewed stuff, locally mixed concoctions. That's really coming up in Zimbabwe, over and above the main ones that we know that have come into the country. But our people have become so creative in creating these drugs in our nation. Yeah.
And Bishop, tell me, what patterns do you see from these young men and boys?
The patterns that you see now in terms of how you now see young people forming groups, forming different cells of encouraging each other to take these drugs. And sometimes you see individuals, but in most cases, because of lack of employment and what to do, they are now forming these little groups to take drugs and to supply each other. That's what I'm seeing on the ground, which is extremely unfortunate.
And tell me, how can fathers, uncles, pastors, and male allies and mentors become true allies in managing how they can quickly spot what is happening?
Thank you, Doc. A very important question. I think what we obviously need to do as fathers, pastors, boys, and other male figures who can be allies with those who are affected by drugs. The most important thing is, first of all, we got to provide mentorship. We have to provide modeling of doing what is right. Some of our young people can also be provide peer number one, peer encouragers, educators, as well as friends to help those who are affected move away. So first of all, those who are of peer nature should help their brothers or sisters at that level. But at leadership level, I think what we need to do as fathers and leaders, whether it's community leaders or church leaders, is to provide modeling of the right things that needs to be done in society, as well as to provide safe places where people can speak out without being stigmatized in cases where people come to a place where they understand I'm really going down. But also those who are within those spheres who are able to detect if they are obviously educated. Some of things you don't need to be educated. It's easy to see that my children, something is amiss, or people in my church, the young people are going through some of them difficult things. So we provide modeling, we provide peer encouragement and education. We also provide a heart, a chest, an ear to listen, a chest to provide comfort, an ear to provide listening, so that we're able to help each other.
One of the things that I'm aware of, Bishop, is that generally, perhaps through socialization, is that young men and boys are perhaps, schooled not to show emotions.
Sure.
And it's perhaps something that happened years back. I'm also sure today what is happening. Are we still in that frame of mind where we don't encourage our young men to show emotions if they have to, and speak out and be able to cry if they have to?
That's the unfortunate part of our society, the way we schooled, the way we are developed. No woman, no cry. If you remember that song, no woman, no cry. That's how we have been brought up. But I don't think it is serving our communities and our society well. Men, boys must be allowed to cry if they need to cry. They must be allowed to speak out. It is obviously this way of we have been cultured to think men must not cry, men must not speak out, that then push people to drugs and then hide in themselves instead of seeking for help. So that is a negative in as far as helping our communities that are affected now is concerned. So we need to encourage our people to say, speak out, find communities and spaces where you're secure, where you can then find a space to speak and seek help. It is health. It's a health thing to seek help when you need help, particularly from some habits that are harmful or practices that are harmful. I would really encourage men to say, let's create spaces, cells, small groups, large groups where we are positive to encourage each other as well as to speak out when we are really under pressure. And that's what is very important right now. Men are under pressure. They have nowhere to go and speak. Women are better because they're quick, bring out their emotion. But men, they bottle it in. And eventually you see either they go for drugs or commit suicide. And that is very dangerous and it's not good for our communities.
Okay, so from the pulpit, Bishop, to the pavement, the practical steps, going forward. If every family watching today take 3 minutes, 3 actions this week to reduce this risk of drug harm and gender-based violence, what should they do?
Number one, I think the first thing is we must understand that we must create environment that brings environment of peace. Those who are family leaders, family heads, must always do the best they can to create a home where there is peace, where there is an amicable way of resolving differences and difficulties, which in most cases people then tend to drugs or tend to violence, where there's gender-based violence because people are not developed to be able to be people of dialogue. What is critical, which is very important, is dialogue, which is our biggest problem even as a nation. We don't understand that dialogue resolves problems. We always think either it's a fight, it's a quarrel, it's a shout. I think dialogue is what is number one, very important. Number two, creating an environment that enables everybody to be able to be free to express themselves. And then all those who are responsible in families must be able to also speak and educate and train people that, number one, others are more important than you. Give others space, respect your fellow human being, respect your parents, respect your children, respect your siblings. And once you do that and you remove selfishness and we become selfless, to number one, know that I'm in a community to build the community and to build a family and to build a nation. Once you know that's basically what, not basically to build just yourself, you build yourself for the sake of your brother or sister next to you, your family, your community, then your nation. And when we all have that mindset, that value set, then I think if we start doing that right now, imagine if everybody knows you care for me and I should care for you, There is no need for me to go to drugs because you are there to help me. There is no need for me to be violent to my wife or to my husband or to my children, because we form a health community is a community where everybody is free to express themselves, free to be heard, and to be understood.
So there are certain things that we do unintentionally as families, which make it worse for our young men and boys to go into drugs. What should we stop doing?
Number
Because,
one,
for instance, I'll tell you, particularly in church, if you are on drugs, people literally like say you are a sinner, you are bad, and so on, unintentionally.
sure,
Yeah,
whether it's unintentionally or intentionally.
intentionally. Mm.
First of all, church, the purpose of church is to rehabilitate people, is to receive people. A church is a hospital. Everybody who comes to church needs needs help, needs medication. We respond to medication differently, right? So that's how I take it. So first of all, the church must know that it's a place for everybody. Come as you are. And the church must not stigmatize people. So the church must first of all know that. So is the family. The family must desist from comparison, comparing children. This one is better than that one. When yet we are built differently with different set of skills, different set of gifts that parents must respect and accept, and then build a community in a family of people who are differently gifted, but to bring about a family. So is in a nation. There are those who are gifted in music, there are those who are gifted in sports, there are those who are intellectually great, and those who, that's what makes a nation. Therefore, I think what we must all do, we must be responsible to know people are different. We must accept what people are good at to augment what I'm good at, and make sure that everybody has a free space on the table to express themselves so that they don't feel alienated. Now, that's the responsibility of those who are community leaders, pastors, bishops in churches, fathers and uncles in families. They must make sure that everybody has an equal space on the table, regardless of their different in terms of giftedness. That's the responsibility of mothers, to make sure when you are feeding your children, they're equally fed as depending on what they can take, rather than this one seems to feel this one is more favored than that one. So that we mustn't do that, because you then develop bitterness, you then develop unnecessary competitiveness, which when one feels I can't compete, so they need to find solace elsewhere. And in most cases, it becomes drugs, or if it's not drugs, I must fight my way, then violence comes in so that I can be equalized with others. So I think those who are responsible in every community, whether it's a family level, whether it's at school level, those who are given responsibility, whether you're a prefect, is to make sure there is harmony in every grouping that you find yourselves in, whether it's even in a community, in a neighborhood. We are gifted with those people who have that grace to be able to bring harmony in a neighborhood. And that's what we must do. And I would want to encourage those that are given the responsibility in society to make sure that they take that with full vigor, to know I'm not just here for myself. We are here. For myself, where I am, I'm not just here for a community. I'm here for the nation, to help the nation find a place where, as a community, we build our nation together for everybody, not for particular individuals.
Bishop Muparutsa, thank you. If you're watching, there are certain actions that the bishop has highlighted, and for me, it is about we need to accept our family, whether they are in drugs or they are, in situations where they need our support.
Sure.
We need to accept them.
Exactly.
We need to support them and give them the necessary love that will turn, that violence into melt away into love. And certainly, we need to accommodate and be able to help them in every way for them to move away from substance abuse.
And we need to seek them out.
And we need to seek them out. Certainly, I think we need to seek them out. We know they're out there.
They're out there, yeah.
We need to, even if they are not our own family members, we should be able to seek them out and give them the necessary support.
Definitely.
So where do we begin from today? Where do we get help? Contacts are on the screen and in the description. Share this conversation with one family that needs it, and let's keep each other safe.